Finally, someone said it.
Are you not kind of just being straightforward here and saying what's obvious because you're worried that if you do, you'll be fired?
No, ma'am.
The director of ICE was back in Congress, and it did not go well for him.
Mr. Lyons, were Renee Good and Alex Preddy domestic terrorists?
To my knowledge, no.
In your testimony on Tuesday, you said that you don't want to comment on these ongoing investigations because you don't want to, quote, impede or, quote, bias the investigation. Is that what you said? Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So Secretary Noem and Stephen Miller have called Renee Good and Alex Preddy domestic terrorists. So did Secretary Noem and Stephen Miller's comments impede or bias the investigations?
Ma'am, I don't want to comment on what comments they made. That's their comments.
Now, this is the point I've been waiting for someone to make. Senator Hassan took it another step.
Look, your testimony doesn't make any sense. If it would impede or bias the investigations for you to say right now, when you know a lot more than we did right after the shootings, whether Renee Good or Alex Preddy were domestic terrorists, if you saying that today would impede or bias the investigations, then why wouldn't it impede or bias the investigations for Secretary Noem and Stephen Miller to say the same thing about the same people? I take it that you are saying that Secretary Noem and Stephen Miller were wrong. Are you not kind of just being straightforward here and saying what's obvious because you're worried that if you do, you'll be fired?
No, ma'am.
But she wasn't the only one to point that out. And in fact, there was a Republican who did as well.
Because you made conclusions immediately, not you, but people within the government made conclusions immediately that he was a terrorist and an assassin, that people aren't believing that it's going to be an honest investigation. And people say, we looked at it, nobody's to blame for anything, and there are no changes. I think it destroys the trust in ICE.
I don't know if ICE had a lot of trust to begin with, but I'll take the win. I think it's good that Rand Paul is calling it out, but it underscores how there's bipartisan frustration and opposition to what's happening. And it illustrates how horrible Kristi Noem is. Kristi Noem must be fired.